a choice was made to not tell as many actual stories to try of real survivors. We're not making a documentary.
Yeah.
We don't want to step on those stories. We don't want to get too close to that. So we really kind of held back a little bit. Not so much with the violence and the idea of the horrors is certainly there in what we've done, and some of that is actually heightened because this is a graphic novel story. It's really important that people understand that we were not trying to make a documentary.
Yeah.
We had called out in the script 4 or 5 different camps that that existed in different countries throughout Europe, and instead of duplicating each of those camps, realistically, what we did is we came up with we found a camp that we could work with sort of as a backlot, and this was in Budapest. So we went to this camp that had been used for some other shows, and we sort of made it our own and decided to make that our overall concentration camp feeling. We were trying to capture a mood and a tone, but not an actual place. I know that this place doesn't look exactly like Auschwitz. The signature buildings of Auschwitz are brick and stone, and a lot of our buildings are made of wood, and it doesn't look exactly the same, and it's not really meant to. What it's meant to do is capture the spirit and the tone of the horrors that were happening there. I know the show is coming under some criticism for not portraying things exactly accurately, and I don't think it's possible to do that, unless you're on the budget of Schindler's List, and that's a 2-hour thing. We're a 10-hour sprawling series, so it's very different.
This is a really dark theme that you are dealing with in this show, but still there are some moments of dark humor. There are some moments of violence that remind me a lot of Tarantino.
Your grandmother wished to protect you.
From what?
Nazis, Jonas. Goddamn Nazis.
In terms of the tone, I think most of that comes out of the script and the editing and the choices that the individual directors made. Scenery-wise, what we're trying to do with the design is to make it as real in New York as possible within the context of the stories that we're telling. So there is a slightly heightened manner in which we treat the sets, and I think that does lend itself to that Tarantino-esque vibe. We didn't really talk about that very much during the making of it. We were just trying to sort of lean into the graphic novel as sort of the term that we used more than any specific other filmmaker reference.
2 weapons experts.
We would bring God's justice.
And what about all the weapons that they use? There's quite an arsenal there. You have the knives. They are golden knives. They might be like maybe the one that maybe caught my attention the most. But there's a lot of weapons. How hard was to find the proper weapons for the show, or to build them? I don't know.
Yeah, it is important, and the knives were one of the first things that we designed and had built because it takes some time to do. So each hunter has their own logo also.
Yeah.
That I don't know that you really see ever.
I don't think so.
Each of the knives has its own identity for each of the hunters, which is great, and so it makes it feel personal for each of them when they're using this prop. And then we built a very custom holder for them in the arsenal part of the secret room in the back cave, as it were.
Yeah, you have a lot of scenes on street. How hard was to manage to find a place that is usable for these scenes? Because I think this is not a set. This is the actual street.
Yeah, it is very difficult to find a street that hasn't been changed and doesn't have modern buildings on it now, and there's fewer and fewer as you go through the city. So there's a lot of work that goes into making that look right. In the 70s, New York was failing, and a lot of people had left the city. The city was bankrupt, basically. Yeah. So trash didn't get picked up. Crime was very high. There were people on the street all the time. There were burned out and bombed out cars everywhere. So one of the themes I wanted to sort of emphasize was damage. This idea of damage, and everyone in the story is damaged in some way or is creating damage. So seeing that on the street, seeing these cars that are damaged, seeing lots of trash, seeing lots of broken things on the streets, anytime we could work that in, we tried to, because it is not a clean city. It is in extreme disrepair. So it is a different New York than now.
It's a coded message.
And we find them before they find us.
We're trying to save the world.
He's amazing, of course. He's the anchor of the whole thing. He holds it all together. He's astounding, and his hours of work were incredible. But when he comes, everybody's on point. He's a big deal. So we were all ready for him every minute, and we tried to be very efficient and not waste a second with him, because you want to get as much Pacino on camera as you possibly can.
You suppose every murder is personal. You know what the best revenge is? Revenge.